Welcome to Live Well with Banter, a podcast produced by Stuff Productions for Live Well with Cancer. I'm your host, Ben Elliott from Transformation Live Well with Cancer, or the regulars at the Live Well Hub, Maureen's son. I'm here today with a very special guest, James from We Rise, a friend of mine for a few years now. We've worked together on Sleep and Fatigue, and I wanted to bring him in today to talk a bit about conscious breathing, yoga, and mindful therapies. How are you doing, James?
I'm great. Are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's lovely to have you here. We've obviously, our paths have crossed many times in the past, but never in such a formal setting as this, over a table looking directly at
It's a lovely setting to be in, even if it is formal. It doesn't feel formal as a result.
No, absolutely. And so this is your first podcast?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, we're very, very welcome to be here. It's lovely to have you here. So We Rise, would you like to tell us a little bit about your company?
Yeah, sure. So We Rise is the wellness and yoga studio that I co-own with my wife, Vera. And it's been open a year since January, so a year and a couple of months now. And what we have tried to do is we've just tried to help bring longevity practices to people's lives and self-regulation as well. So there'll be a lot online about nutrition, about mobility and movement, as well as in the studio. There's also a great section online about sleep. And there is also a lot in terms of self-regulation, helping release stress from your nervous system through the breathwork practices, find balance through the breathwork practices that I do, as well as using sound therapy as a meditation aid.
You've got many strings to your bow, lots of different techniques. So when it originally started, you and Vera had different companies, didn't you? You both had your own paths, and then they've kind of came into one together.
We were very much sole traders, just each doing our own thing, very, very much focusing on yoga, myself on the delivering sound baths in the region. And so, yes, we decided that we wanted to have a space that we could call our own, and then build a community in that space and around it, and provide each of our different services, like the different pillars of wellness that are part of We Rise and that I've just talked about there. So just provide them under one roof and grow it from there.
It looks amazing what you're doing. To my shame and regret, I'm still yet to have been. I know I've been saying it all along since. So when I first met you, you were talking about moving in. You'd had this place lined up, and you were kind of waiting until it was going to open up and have this space. But it's been so lovely to see online, because you've got this community growing there. I remember I caught you. It must have been about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you'd been out and you'd done a morning yoga on the beach, and you'd had these kind of wonderful things. What have you had, like a highlight from your time? I guess moving in would have been up there.
Oh, I think that's got a lot to do with it. And then just seeing everyone that comes to class, their little improvements, their bits of personal growth, and how that then reflects on their life. We've had a lot of people, and I find this particularly, we could maybe talk about this a little bit later, but the idea that the more transformational style of breathwork that I do, I'll sometimes hear great stories from the people that have been to that class, because it's helped them get out of the way of themselves in a way, because we can very often hold ourselves back and be the limiting factor in our own growth story, and so they'll be moving into their new chapter, and then maybe it's something that they've heard from Vera in terms of like her first, when she starts a class or ends a class, she very often gives a little bit of an inspirational talk, a chat around the theme of the day, and then that's along with the other things like the breath work has led people to explore a new job, or move somewhere entirely new, just push themselves outside of their comfort zone. I think that's really important. You
must have some really deep conversations between you, two yoga instructors, between two conscious
That is true, but we're very often so busy, like on alternate days in the studio, that we don't often get time to do that. And when we do get home, we have we just like want to have something on in the background that is just like mindless, and then we watch TV whilst we sat on the sofa doing our own businessy thing. So it's very full on, but also it's very rewarding. And we do, I think, whenever we do have Sundays off, we do stop to think, look around the studio when it's empty. You've got the echo of people's like laughter in the air, or it's almost that negative of a photograph or like film impression of what's just happened, and you think, wow, can't believe that's something that we've built.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see from the outside, and like I say, I should get myself along and get involved in this session.
More than welcome.
That's for certain. How have you found being a yoga instructor?
Oh, brilliant! I love it.
Yeah.
I really do love it. I think one of the, it's like being, because I'm a school teacher, of course, and
transferable
science
skills.
teacher.
Yeah.
But I think having gone through that journey and built up my confidence, it's then like it comes all crashing back down again when you like enter into a new discipline. You have to become a teacher in that, and so it was quite humbling. But also I understood that I'm in it for the long game. It's also something that I'll build up my skills, my mental resources over the years, and then be able to provide that. And I feel like I'm in a relatively confident place now, and it's where I can actually enjoy teaching enough to help people get more immersed in it.
Superb. Well, I've obviously taken part in terms of the conscious breathing side of things. So when we first met, we were doing the sleep masterclasses. So we're going across the region. It was actually you there on my second ever time presenting, and my first time was a horror show.
Natural. But the second time you turned it all around.
yeah. The first time was a horror show. I was nervous. I didn't really prepare. But then the second time around, I kind of got away with it because I realised that the key was to switch it. And instead of them asking me questions, I was asking them questions. And then before you know, you've got the chat in the room, and it made a lot of difference.
Great, yeah.
And I've had that experience of kind of having different kind of conscious breathing exercises with you, which has been great. So what, with relation to, specifically in relation to sleep and fatigue, how does conscious breathing help?
So conscious breath work helps us get back to the present moment. And I think for a lot of people, in terms of their sleeping patterns, their mind is racing, it is ruminating, it is going to the past, to the future. Very rarely is landing in the present where it needs to be, where we can ground down. And I think the conscious, the gentle conscious connected styles of breath work that I do, they're very good for helping bring that balance, helping bring people back to the present moment. And it's when we stop having so much of a focus on our thoughts and maybe looking at expanding the space in between those thoughts, then that becomes us being more aware of, like, I would call it the blank canvas of our mind. And that's something when we have those, or less emphasis on those thoughts, being drawn less to them. I think it's a great place to be for sleep. For stress, to not necessarily release stress, but also to prevent it from actually settling into your nervous system, and then your body always feeling like it's being chased by a lion. It's that, like, we're in bodies, our human bodies are like very much built for red and green flags, some things that we're drawn to, other things that we really want to push and run away from. And if we store stress in our nervous system, it can very, very much be that everything or so much more around us feels like it's a red flag. And so we not just become hypersensitive, it affects the way that we think, and even the way that we critique ourselves.
How does the obviously being like a science teacher is kind of one way of doing it, but and yet this breath work, it seems more spiritual to me, but obviously there's a lot of science behind it as well. So do them kind of reinforce each other in terms of for the practice, do you think?
Again, yes, it was about the idea that a lot of what we experience is subjective, and I think it has to be for different people. For everyone's experience has to bring something to them, and I think where there is crossover in terms of the science, it's a lot of it is about, maybe it's with the breath work, maybe it's in expanding your lung capacity, using more of that volume that's available to you. It's working within your limits and knowing what those limits are, and I think that's really important.
Certainly in my experience, I find it a lot easier being led. I'm beyond box breathing, I struggle to do breathing exercises by myself, but when I'm getting led, which is why I've really appreciated the times where we've been in the room, and I think you've actually mentioned it yourself, you said, you seem to fall in it quite easy. Like, no, not really. But when I'm in a formal situation and I'm there and I'm sat and I'm listening to it, and I imagine you get that quite a lot, because people who are coming to your studio are very committed, they're kind of practicing it in their own time, so you're probably that value add, really, I guess, when people are coming in to do the breath work, and presumably are doing it in their own time as well. Exactly.
No, so you're right. And also, I don't think necessarily that even the people that come to me as regulars would choose to, they don't necessarily always do it outside, right. Because they lead such busy lives, and then they come to us in the studio, and I think that they do appreciate the fact that I'm leading them, and I notice that more. So we've got my Breathe and Meditate class. It's evolved a little bit more recently to actually lead people more and guide them with the breath count, and then repeat those gentle breathwork practices that we do for maybe 20 minutes at the start, for 10 minutes at the end as well. It's got to, I mean, we're talking about the science before, and the fact is that I think it's 1 in 4 people have aphantasia, where they can't actually see images behind their closed eyes. Exactly. And so it's the idea that if ever I am trying to bring meditation or like breath work as a meditation, and then maybe sometimes trying to involve the two alongside one another. So I might do a breath work practice for a while, then take people through a guided visualization, then dive back straight into another breathwork practice. I've found that for people that struggle to visualize, they actually really latch on to the idea of focusing on the breath. Following my count, maybe then they can self-guide, and they can also then appreciate what was their favorite breathwork practice from the class, and then take that outside of the class, and then like you said, if they do have the opportunity, they can try that at home.
Well, and that is a perfect segue into what I'd like to do next. So if you'd be so kind, I will be your willing listener, and maybe even Hayward will get involved as well behind the screen. If you could guide us just a little bit, just a bit of a breathing exercise, kind of talk us through what you're doing, just so we've got something here that people can kind of take away, and a jumping off point. A lot of the time when I'm doing my workshops, I'll do box breathing because it's the easiest and the simplest one, and it's something that people can do. But I defer to your expertise, and I will hand over if you'll be so kind. Yeah,
sure. So we will actually start with box breathing, then we'll go into a 3-part breath, and then we'll end on 4, 7, 8. I think they're 3 of the best and favourite. Balancing, and also great for tapping into the vagus nerve and that parasympathetic nervous side of ourselves, which just helps us cut through all of the anxiety if ever we do feel it starting to rise up. So there is always ritual in the repetition. I think it's great for us just to start maybe just by closing our eyes, focusing on breathing in and out through the nose, driving that air gently to the belly on each new inhale and exhale each time. Noticing how cool the air feels as you breathe in and out from the nose. Notice how it feels for the air to eddy and circulate at the back of your throat on those natural pauses between breaths. And then on the next inhale, send the shoulders forwards and up. On the exhale, send them back and down. Sit tall through the top of the head, open out through the chest. And we'll take a couple of grounding breaths to begin with. So we'll breathe in through the nose, deep to the belly. Feel your belly pushing out for 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, side out through the mouth. Once more, in through the nose, deep to the belly for 3, 2, 1. Side out through the mouth. Next, we'll be entering into the box breathing by breathing in for a count of 4 through the nose, out for a count of 4 through the nose. So here we go. In for 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, prepare to hold, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, prepare to hold, 4, and hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, final round, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe in and out at a natural, gentle rhythm for you. Next we'll be breathing in for a count of 6 through our nose and out for a count of 6 through our nose as well. So here we go. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 1, 2, then pause. Continue filling 3, 4, then pause. Continue 5, 6, and pause at the top of your breath, then out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 1, 2, pause. Continue 3, 4, pause. Continue 5, 6, pause. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 1, 2, pause. Continue 3, 4, pause. Continue 5, 6, pause. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, without the count, in for the first third of your breath. Pause. Continue filling for the middle third. Pause. Continue filling all the way up to the top of your lungs, then pause. Out through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in for the first third. Pause. Continue for the middle third. Pause. Continue to the top of your lungs. Pause. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in and out. Allow your breathing to return to a natural, gentle rhythm for you. Next, we'll be breathing in for a count of 4, holding at the top for 7, then out for 8. So because of the long holds and exhale, we'll breathe in deep. So here we go. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Final round. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then allow your breathing to return to a natural, gentle rhythm for you. Next, bring the first 2 fingers of your right hand up to the point on your brow so that the fingertips are gently resting on that point on your brow between your eyes. Hover, but don't block, the thumb over the right nostril, the third finger over the left nostril, and then we'll block the right nostril with our thumb. Breathe in through the left. Switch the nostrils that you have blocked. Breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Switch the nostrils you have blocked. Breathe out through the left. Once your lungs are empty, breathe in through the left. Whenever your lungs are full, switch nostrils. Breathe out through the right here. Breathe in through the right. Switch nostrils, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left and continue by yourself. Switch nostrils at the top of your breath. Breathe in through the same nostril when you start to fill again. If ever your sinuses feel blocked, you're welcome to breathe in and out through the mouth, but with your intention direct the air through the nose that is blocked. If you'd like to, introduce a count of 4 on both the inhale and the exhale. That is an option. You also have the option of introducing a hold at the top and the bottom of your breath for a count of 4 as well. And then after the next exhale out through the left nostril, allow your hands to fall back down into your lap. Allowing your breathing to return to a natural, gentle rhythm. Firstly, from behind closed eyes, try and get a sense of the more distant sounds in the space, in the room that you're in. Then bring your attention to those closest to your ears. The rush of air, the sound of your breath, the rustling of your clothes. Notice the points of pressure where you are sat. Notice how hot or cold your skin feels. And to end the practice, we'll take a couple more grounding breaths. So in through the nose, deep to the belly, feel it filling. When you're ready, side out through the mouth. Once more, in through the nose, deep to the belly, out through the mouth. And then on the next exhale, slowly allow the eyes to flicker open.
That was a strange thing, doing that on camera. I only realised at the end when you told me to bring my awareness to my surrounding again. I've got a couple of things that came to mind there. Yeah. I really enjoy doing it. It's such a great thing, especially when it's guided. And I find that with yoga as well. When you do it in the house, I feel like I'm doing it paint by number. When I'm in the room, I'm fully committed. Yes. And my intention, generally speaking, when I go to yoga is let's be present as much as I can. And I struggle to be present when I'm still, unless I'm getting guided, because then that's an active thing and it becomes my breath.
Of course, yeah.
One memory came to mind. I remember you were doing a sound bath in Sedgefield, and the heavens opened in the middle of the sound bath, and the hailstone was pouring down, but you were giving this really motivational speech while the sound bath was going, and then the hailstone was going all at once. It was transcendental. I've never had an experience quite like that one before. I think the gods were on your side on that one. And then second one, we're just with that more of a practical question. Do you know the sinus thing? Yeah. My right sinus is more blocked than my left one. I can breathe freely out my left one and it's fine, but when on my right one I can kind of feel there's something in there.
Yeah.
Is there a way around that? Is that just something that is just natural?
So there's a couple of things. And the first thing to do is, I think you've got pressure points just on your lats. If you give yourself a self hug, but then catch your lats and then grip there. And actually if you hold it for about 30 seconds, you might feel that your sinuses release.
Oh, right, okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I honestly don't know.
But
I know that it does work, which is why I always suggest it as being quite anecdotal, but also, I feel it releases. And then if that doesn't necessarily work, or I forget that, and then what I might do is I might draw my fingers wide of my cheek, just to draw the nostril open a little bit more.
And then just encourage the space.
Yeah.
I had an incident about a year ago, and I don't know whether this played into it, but I had too many sweets in one go, and it went up my nose. And then about an hour later, I blew my nose and the sweet came out of my nostril.
Oh no!
And I'm wondering if there's still a little bit
Still
of sweet
a little bit
in
up
there.
there.
There's a bit of gummy that's going to be in there for the rest of all days. So I'll try. I'll try. That was really good. And do you know what? I get a bit nervous when I come in here to do this because obviously I'm on camera and different stuff like that. That's just relaxed me massively. It's a shame. Did it relax you? Does it relax you doing that?
I think the thing I've got to be wary of is that it might relax me too much and I'll just forget the cues.
Right, when I used to do the box breathing, I would count along and try and do the breath. And I'm sure you've done it in the past and it doesn't work.
So that's why, like, whenever I'm doing the count, I have to have my hand up and out. And so I'd be like, if I forget, then I can look to see where my hand is in the cycle and then I'll keep on going.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk more about WeRise later.
Yeah.
But that's got me lovely and set up. And now I want to talk about one of my favourite things in the world. And that's the Wellbeing 9 a Day and Live World Healthy Habits.
Absolutely.
Now, you've heard this a lot, so I'll just do a little speed run.
Yeah.
Live World Healthy Habits is about the 9 habits of a healthy lifestyle. I believe they're the best understood as 3 pillars of wellness. Your first pillar is your journey in life. That's how you move from the past through the present and into the future. Your second pillar is your mental health, your physical fitness and your emotional well-being. And then your final pillar is your relationships. That's your relationships with other people, and it might be faith, the relationship with yourself, and then your relationship with nutrition, so the food and drink that you put in your body. It's something I believe in very strongly. It's something I work on every day. And one thing I like to do in this podcast is like to ask people about each of the 9 different habits, basically. Yes. So we'll start off with your journey in life, and I'd like to know, what's one intention you have for the future?
One intention I have for the future would just be to keep being of service to other people. Be of service is something that we wanted to either have above our door, because it's very much a mission statement, like in the studio, have above the door. It's very much a mission statement. It's something that Vera was introduced to as part of her yoga teacher training, and I love that idea. I think that practitioners can very much also give so much of themselves that they get drained very easily. So I think a lot of my intention around that would also be to take back some time for myself, ourselves, and just find that personal time, that quiet time.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I guess so. When you're teaching yoga, you're obviously doing the physical movement and you're getting your yoga. How many sessions would you do in a day? Because I often wonder.
Oh yeah, so I think how many do I do? It's 6 or 7, depending on which day it is.
That's a lot.
So it's a week, not a day.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I would like 3 a day, I think, is the most I ever used to do.
Right, yeah.
And
it
can
that
be.
Tipping? Oh, sorry, you can.
No, I'm just, it can be, because very often I think, even starting out as a yoga teacher, we talked about this a little bit, didn't we? But the idea is that you're expected, I think the expectation is for you to take people through the class, and then the more experienced yoga teachers, they're more off the mat and they're more calling out just vocally the cues. I like to demonstrate a little bit more, and I don't know whether that's because I think I could probably do it off the mat, because if I'm looking at someone I can cue them, instead of me imagining me outside of myself trying to cue the moves, the poses. So it can be difficult if you choose it to be. There are clever ways of doing it that don't involve you getting as physical, but I haven't found that yet necessarily for myself.
Do you know what I really love about that intention and the name of the business anyway? WeRise, it does have that community feel. It's about coming together to improve. And I'm a huge fan of names that tell you what things are about. And WeRise really just capture what you're saying there. Yeah. How can we rise together?
Lifting others up.
Exactly. And with the memory of, for me to lift someone else up, I need to make sure I'm in a good place as well, and I need to have my own self-care in place.
Exactly, and as tumultuous the world is at the minute as well.
Yes, let's not get into the politics because it would be a minefield, I'm sure. Totally. And what a wonderful thing to offer people in the current landscape of, come in, you're in the mat, you're in the space, and we're just here to be present and work on ourselves and each other, and then leave.
Trying to forget for that hour or 2 exactly, like why, what you've left behind. So just bringing yourself to the mat. I love that idea.
Perfect. Well, that's a perfect segue to the next question. And I guess you've got any number of answers to this one, but what keeps you present?
That's I would say breath work. I try, because it's one of those things you don't have to tell people that you're doing. You could be stepping into a room full of people that would make you nervous. Maybe it's to deliver a speech, to deliver a lesson, and you could just do a couple of rounds of breath work. Maybe it's just one breath. I very often notice that I hold quite a lot of tension in my belly, right, whenever I'm not being conscious of my breath. So I try and break through that with just a couple of rounds of like just deep belly breaths, and then that in itself I think it must have like a feedback loop and makes me feel better as a result of it.
Right, yeah. So is that the way it would be, little and often, or would you have like a designated period of time where you'd be doing your breath work?
I don't tend to feel like I set that up for myself. I feel like ideally I would do so morning and evening, as you're getting up, as you're going to bed, maybe for a couple of minutes. It doesn't have to be long. I think people feel like in order to be an expert at something, you have to do something for like such a long period of time. When it comes to breath work, it's just catching yourself and bringing it back to the breath, to the present moment. And the more that you do that, you notice like how you're just smoothing out your baseline. Really.
And that's one of the things I talk about a lot now with in terms of exercise and movement, like it's exercise snacking little and often, and that actually makes a lot of sense to me in terms of the breath work, where maybe just at the right time, catching yourself when you can feel the stress building or when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and having that mechanism in of. That's why I like the box breathing, because it's just a simple, easy one. But obviously you've got a variety of different options there, and I could feel it when we were doing that exercise there. I could feel myself reacting differently in my body, and it was almost taking different layers off and different things.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot more learning to do in that regard, but I can totally see why it would work.
Yeah.
And just having them little catching yourself.
And that part of the practice, which is the body reading, noticing where you potentially are like tensing up or usually tense, and releasing it is quite important.
Can you see that in people?
Or like, for instance, when I'm doing the sound bath, I'll be going around, I'll be giving people like a walk around the room with a drum, and they'll be quite tense at first, and then like slowly as the drum beat starts to become a little bit slower, they'll like start to unwind, and you can see their shoulders dropping. So all the usual cues, I would say.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, we've talked about the future and we've talked about the present. What's one bad habit you should let go?
So most evenings when I'm in the studio, I will tend to go to the supermarket on the way home, grab something like a bar of chocolate to have as dessert, or as a starter to my dinner, because I've not got home yet and that's it's ready to make. But I would love to cut that out. What I have been doing is trying to swap that out for fruit and veg, and I think that's important. Just knowing that if I am going to eat, I might as well eat healthily.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and like a lovely mango is better than a bar of chocolate, isn't it? But it's the ease of going to the chocolate bar. It's the habits of it, isn't it?
Exactly.
No, that makes sense. Well, that's your journey. Let's talk about your health. So, what are you currently learning about?
So my wife Vera, she's been doing her extended yoga teacher training.
Oh wow.
So I've been delving into that side with her actually. The yoga teachers have a strong emphasis on mobility. But like everything that we do in the studio, it's science backed. So they themselves used to be a gymnast and a ex-basketballer. And so I love the idea that actually they bring their little bit of science knowledge to it as well.
Right, that's cool. What do you have like an end goal in regards to the yoga? Is that something that you'll keep learning as well? I guess you're just interested when Vera's going.
I think I will. Tying it more into calisthenics or strength practice, I would love to do that. That's just more of a personal aim. I think that a lot of people have the impression that yoga is just a stretch. I think because people want to be able to pigeonhole things, and people in very similar fitness disciplines want to say we're this, they're that. But yoga is it's everything. I mean, it's a philosophy to begin with, but if you take the movement aspect of it, it is both a stretch and it's a strength building practice, mentally and physically.
Totally. And then you add the breath work on top of it.
Exactly.
That's such a key part. When I was like 28, I slipped a disc in my back, and I was done. I was in agony. That's when I started stretching. And the stretching to begin with was like rehab. And then I realized, and then I would stop it because my back was feeling better, and then my back would get bad again, and then it became the habit of the thing. But since I've started doing I don't get back issues anymore, because I just feel it's like I've connected my bottom half and my upper half.
Yeah.
Because when I was in my 20s, I would have went to the gym, but it would have been major muscle groups, and it would have been like, you know, still doing it, but not doing it in the same degree and not hitting everywhere. Whereas I feel yoga hits everywhere.
It does, yeah.
It's brilliant for that.
It does, exactly. And I think it just like, it helps you to engage and strengthen everything, like not just superficial muscles like you would at the gym, but yeah. No, I think it's a beautiful practice. And one that is a very personal practice as well, like you're saying, so. and love marrying the breath up to the movements and getting into the flow of things. I injured my back on the job in school, and it took me about a year to recover. But the thing that did help me to recover was the set practice that the yoga school that I'm learning from now has, and it has a lot of back bends to it. Totally, and that's like that. I think that's really important as well. But it's a full body practice, but the back bends really helped my back at the time.
Oh, you absolutely. You spend so long on screens, and we bought Lazy Boys, which I think is a big contributor, because I used to work like reclined like that, just putting all the strain on my back. But the Cobra and the up dog and stuff like that, they're the ones that really make the difference to push your discs back in. You feel big fan. Yeah. Oh well, really nice. Well, this might tie into it again. So we'll talk about mental health, physical fitness. What's your favourite way of staying fit? Or moving your body?
Moving, definitely yoga.
Yeah.
I was running quite a lot over winter. But then the weather got so bad, dark and dingy, that I kind of fell out of it.
Were you running with someone in mind, or was it like or just
for probably for the next Great North Run?
Right.
And I think also just to see how like what I could achieve, if I got out regularly. Yeah. And I think the thing I found though was I had a really stressful December. Going into January, I was running and finding that the running wasn't actually helping. If anything, it was exacerbating things. Yeah. And I was wondering if that was because we're always we're continually in a like a rhythmic fashion, relaxing and contracting our muscles, and then our nervous system, our body doesn't actually get used to one relaxing or the other contracting, and so my nervous system was never being repaired as a result, and I still feel it was very draining, like draining in the same way that like it's draining to like wear a mask in a job, and like go into a room and teach, having to wear that mask because you need the energy around like those other people. It's like just making sure that you're protecting yourself, like in terms of that energy dump, and like not feeling as though you can like fill your battery back up. And I was feeling like that, and the running wasn't helping, which was strange because I think it was when there was that tipping point through a stressful like end to last year that it was like, maybe I actually do need to get back into yoga, which is like more about just like those long holds, strength holds as well, and then like breathing through it and noticing your mental state in that moment. But yeah, I do really love what you were talking about in terms of noticing and picking out where it was that you were holding tension, because a lot of people don't do that. Body reading is like part of everyday life, and it's really important, I think.
It's a unique opportunity. The time spent on the mat is wonderful, really. Yeah. And like obviously you'll have more skills to your bone than I do. I've got a full body. I've got a set routine I'll do. I've got like a daily routine, so I'm always doing the same thing. Whereas you'll be learning new things, and you'll be kind of trying new things on top, which is great as well. And that's why I like the classes. Because you push yourself to do things that you wouldn't do by yourself. Yes. And then you find, actually, I'm closer to that than I thought maybe.
There's the thing though about like a yoga teacher, especially a newcomer. I think the idea is that you always have to be creative, but I don't think you necessarily do. Yeah. I think you have to be consistent. I think it's really lovely. We have a class called A Set in the studio, which is it was that one that helped me with my back, and it's that one I'm learning from like Vera's and now my yoga teachers, and it's the idea that it's a full body practice. It could be like between an hour, and actually the full practice that is part of is 90 minutes, but an hour is often as much as people have in their daily lives to dedicate, and so it is the same every single week. And the same with my Breathe and Meditate. It's the same every single week, apart from the visualization meditations and the themes. And I think that's important for people's consistency and for them to know like they're always going to get something familiar.
It's one of my favorite things. I'm very much in that 1 hour class, but I like it when the teacher, it's iterations through, and I can see where it's going. I don't like it when it's like, oh, you've just taken a right turn and now I don't know where I am anymore. We were building up a lovely flow that was coming to a nice place, and now I'm second guessing myself and I'm back in the room. Whereas when you have that kind of 3 iterations and you get to the end of it and you're like, oh, I know exactly where she's going here. Now I'm just moving and I'm not, she's giving the cues, but I'm getting there.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Lovely. If you could do one thing now that you enjoy, what would it be?
One thing now that I would enjoy. Oh, and does this involve being anywhere hot?
This can be whatever you like.
This could be anywhere.
This can be whatever you like.
Oh, do you know what?
We're going on holiday.
It's been exactly. I think it's been such a long time since we've just been to the coast and just had a walk by the sea. Something like that. Yeah, liberating.
Have you ever done St Mary's Lighthouse?
Yes.
Have you seen the seals around the back?
Yes. Yeah,
it's wonderful.
They're amazing just to watch.
Yeah,
blending in with the rocks.
Yeah, it's a lovely walk up there. That's mine and JB's favourite.
Yeah.
So we'll park. We'll often park down the coast at the free car park, walk up, check out the seals, maybe just go up to Seaton Sluice and back, and it's a wonderful part of the world.
There's a lovely place in North Berwick which is very similar it's like a sandbar.
Oh, right, nice.
So there's like Camis in the northeast, you've got there's the beach and then there's a river which separates the other side of the beach, and it's very similar to that up in North Berwick, and it's just like a seal colony. You can't get as close as you can at St Mary's, but I would recommend it.
Oh, totally. I'm fully
for your seal spotting.
Yeah. Well, they're just wonderful, aren't they? Like, it's so rare to see an animal of that size in the wild that's just basking on the thing. And obviously
the dogs of the sea. No, absolutely. Yeah, we get. I haven't done it for so long, but wild swimming, swimming quite. I would say. Up to like 2 kilometers, particularly around the summer, and then very often people would have the other swimmers would have the seals nipping at their toes in the water, and
amazing,
nice, yeah,
that's magic. That well, that's your health. We'll talk about mental health, physical fitness, emotional well-being. Now we'll talk about relationships. What's your favorite way of connecting with other people?
I think it's almost becoming, and I'm seeing this with like the younger generations as well that I'm teaching, but the lost art of just talking. Yeah, and then holding space for people. Maybe it's not talking, maybe it's listening, maybe it's not always having to have an answer in the moment, but just offering reassurance that you're always going to be there. And showing up for people as well. And we very often show up for people through our screens rather than in person. I think it's very important to show that effort, personal effort.
That's a beautiful thing about you having your home and your base there now, isn't it? Where, that is a very much a community feel, and you're seeing their friends on there, let's be honest, when you've got your regulars coming in, and that's beyond, a client. That's
yes, exactly.
That's someone that you bond with. And
we've always said that we're locked in now. There's no way that we'll ever leave the studio. And even if it means that we just always have to have our 2 jobs, each of us, for forever, we're there.
Well, but it's a ikigai, isn't it? You find your purpose. Why would you look anywhere else when you know what you've got? And to share that with your wife is such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's lovely. I think there was a time where I was like, I would say more spiritually inclined, and then her, because like we go through rhythms and seasons with like how with our faith, I guess, let's call it that, with our philosophy on life being more like internalized rather than externalized, and it's nice for us to just be meeting in the middle so much more now.
Yeah, beautiful phrase. It's a wonderful thing to meet in the middle, isn't it? And that's how you understand the full picture. Is them changes and experiencing the other side, and then you can kind of make sense of life backwards a lot of the time, don't you? And it's only when you reflect on it that you're like, oh, actually that did work out well for us, or you know what, I thought that was the right thing and it wasn't.
Exactly.
And now I can learn.
It is very important, I think, to be like reflective in life, not at the detriment to yourself, because you could be too reflective. That could be like your inner self-critic talking to you a little bit too much, but definitely. Well, that's what these journals are all about. It's about setting intentions for the future and reflecting on them and trying to learn as best we can from what's there. What self-care do you need? Oh, personal self-care. I just like the quiet time, like environments. I thought you were going to say switching off. Switching off, like environments that aren't too busy. I've been noticing that out in nature. Like we were at Wallington Hall the other day. We left the crocuses. Yes, absolutely. It's just so lovely just to walk around and just hear the birds. Whenever, like, it's been so like wintry. Oh, you're right. Like recently, it's nice to get back out and feel like we're the ones that are like opening up a little bit more, not just the flowers. Yeah.
Well, it's lovely. Spring is beautiful. We were at Cragside the other day doing something along the same lines, and you know, you see these pops of colour, you see the birds coming through, you see the sun in the air. It changes everything, doesn't it? Because we do have bleak old winters when we're in the northeast, don't we?
We do, sadly, but I guess, yeah, it's one of those things that I'll forever complain about. It's like a British privilege, isn't it? But also, yeah. It's no, I think we should be very thankful that we're by the coast. It is like sometimes extreme weather, but I think having our ears battered by the wind and the rain is like one of those like birthrights, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you prefer sea or forest?
Oh, that's a tough one. Can I have a forest by the sea?
No.
It does sometimes happen. There's a lovely place called Inverview Gardens up in Gairloch in the northwest of Scotland. I would recommend it. But
that sounds lovely.
Yeah, the sea 100% all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess if you're like a swimmer as well, you know, there's so much going on at the sea. I love a forest for the tranquility of it. I love the sea for the activeness, I guess, the activity that's going on there. It's just constant, isn't it? And it's a wonderful
both, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah,
totally. Okay, but I've saved the most important question for last.
Okay.
It's a dystopian future.
All
fruits and vegetables are gone, but you have the power to save 5.
5, okay.
Which 5 are you saving? 5 total across.
Now, when I was thinking about this, of course, like I forgot potatoes. Like potatoes is a vegetable. How could you not do with potatoes? And Matt Damon in The Martian, he managed. But now,
I just watched that back.
Yeah, exactly. I think that like for me, colour. I don't know if I don't know necessarily if this relates in any way in terms of nutritional content, but I love a colour variety in my fruits and veggies. Yeah,
and we're getting a rainbow here.
Exactly. So like I love the dark. If ever I chose a smoothie or chose a green juice, it would have to be like a deep dark bluish one. So like blueberries, plums, always at the top, even if it was like a crumble. Apples for that very reason. I'm not going without a crumble ever. And then potatoes and tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
Did you say 5?
5,
yeah.
So plums, blueberries.
I've already skipped to the end. It was apples. It was potatoes
and tomatoes.
And tomatoes, yeah.
Oh, you've done well there.
Yeah.
You've done well there. Hayward always says tomatoes. He thinks people have been silly, so you've came in nicely with a potato and a tomato. You're hitting the foundations lovely.
Exactly, have to, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hope the dystopian future never happens.
No.
But if it does...
I'm here for it.
Yeah, lovely. Right, well, we're going to do some quick fire questions now.
Okay.
And the first one, not so quick fire. Actually, it's probably going to take a little bit of time, but that's not a problem.
Let's go.
Your Mount Rushmore. So you've got a mountain, and you can carve 4 faces into that mountain, and these are inspirational figures for your life.
Yes, yeah.
Who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, now, see, like as soon as you said inspirational figures for my life, I was thinking like celebrity figures, but then, yeah, I could go personal, couldn't I, as well?
You could.
But I'll mention first Jane Goodall.
Right.
Then we've got David Attenborough.
Is Jane Goodall the monkey woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gorillas
absolutely. Not monkey
Gorillas
woman.
in the Mist.
Yeah, monkey woman. That's probably a bit dismissive, isn't it?
But it's amazing. I think she started out. She got herself to the Congo as a receptionist, I believe.
Right.
And then she just kept on like asking for more time with the gorillas out in the field, and then eventually I think she secured funding, etc. Amazing story. Such strong perseverance, and particularly at a time when I think women weren't necessarily offered so many choices or like the opportunity, like the mobility up through the ranks, let's say.
And for it to be remembered as Monkey Woman.
Monkey Woman.
Bloody disgrace. Let's move along. Attenborough's a great
Attenborough,
show.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Really strong character. Barack Obama.
Right, nice.
Yeah, I'd love to actually like really get like talking to Barack. And it's the emotional intelligence that he displays as a person, as a leader. There's still nuance in the world. Not everything is polarized. Not everything is black and white. There's like whole like swatches of colors in between.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then it's my 4th person, isn't it? And then I think I would have to go to Vera. Because she's the type A personality to my type B in the relationship and in the business, and so I think very much that she is like the driving force behind it. She's the boss babe as that she has on her keyring that a friend bought her. But yeah, she's a force of nature. She like, and the things that she does, like, and the energy that she has to do it, even when she's not motivated. I sometimes have to be motivated to do something. I just think it's incredible. So
what an amazing visual we're gonna get from some sort of AI of that mountain on the thing. There is a wonderful company. What's your favourite movie?
Oh, between Heat or Interstellar.
They're doing a Heat 2, aren't they?
I think they are, actually.
Yeah. I heard there's rumours of
I don't know
Heat
if
2.
Michael Mann's on board, but honestly, it's like, it was one of those films that I was introduced to in university, and
it's
nothing
got
has
you at a
topped
nice
it
time.
since.
Yeah, totally. Brilliant movie, great performances.
Oh, yeah.
Tense all the way
Incredible.
through.
That's it, it's the tension.
Yeah. And then Interstellar.
And Interstellar.
Yeah.
I think I love the science that's involved, the sci-fi. I'm a massive sci-fi fan.
Right.
The music. We even had some of the music at our wedding from the score. Incredible. Yeah.
Right. Lovely. Favourite musical artist?
See, like at the minute, it's been going between like a local guy called Matt Stalker,
Right.
and it's been going to Scott Matthews, just like singing along in the car, just to like release some more of that stress. But yeah, I'll stick with those for now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really good. Favourite song?
Build a Home, Cinematic Orchestra. We used to have the lyrics on our wall at home. It's just, I think it's quite an emotional song. And when you actually look at it, it's like the idea of growing old together.
Right.
And your home is with each other. So I love that. Yeah.
Lovely. Favourite book?
I think it's How to Hack the Outer Body Experience, or Hacking the Outer Body Experience.
Nice.
Yeah. Or The 5-Minute Moment, which is by Jürgen Zive. And it's all about he started to have in his meditation practice, because he's a musician, might come more naturally, but he had more of a dual awareness in his meditation. So he recognized that he was here sat on his like bedroom floor, like in his apartment, wherever he was, but also he was then walking along a beach, and he met this like large like being of light type figure, and that 5 minutes, like he had an expansion of time in that 5 minutes. It was dilated, and he wrote a whole book about his experience.
Wow.
And where it took him.
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Good show. Favourite game show?
Pointless.
I am a pointless champion.
Are you?
I am a pointless champion, so I've been asking that question every time until someone said, I'm pretty sure I've been on. Finally got one.
There we go.
Yeah.
No, it used to be, I think it was on as soon as I got home from work. A few years ago. And we used to go to the corner shop, get some snacks, watch Pointless, and that used to start our evening. It was great.
Fun fact about yourself.
I grew up on a farm. I think that would be nice.
Whereabouts?
Yeah. Bishop Auckland.
Oh right.
So, over towards Durham.
Right. Aye.
And that was amazing. Just like growing up around animals.
What kind of farm?
It was like a small holding. It wasn't we had hay. We had a hay crop, but we had pets. And we had pot-bellied pigs that my mum ran the pot-bellied pig club of the UK.
Right.
And so we had like a sanctuary of pot-bellied pigs.
That must have been amazing.
It was great, and they're so clever and intelligent. And I think for me, like just being that's my connection with the outdoors.
Yeah.
Just being able to like relate to that, and know that like when I do need that connection with the outdoors, that's probably why.
Right. Yeah, totally. And do you know what? When you grow up in that kind of environment, sometimes I think you need to kind of relearn things, because it comes so naturally as part of being out in nature is just it's just life.
Every day.
Yeah. So then when you get into a normal, or you go to uni or whatever, you go into a more normal life, it's like, oh, actually I need to remember to do this. It's not just built in.
Yeah.
Ant or deck?
Oh, deck.
Deck, nice.
Yeah.
And then if you're in St James's Park, would you be a toon or a black and white army?
With black and white army, I think. In the Gallagher. Yeah.
Nice. Are you a football fan?
So my dad used to be a director of Darlow Football Club.
Oh right.
And then after that, I kind of fell out of it, like more into just like solo sports and things.
Right.
But yeah.
Oh, right, nice.
I do enjoy like a good match, but I think the last time I've been to St James's, and only time I've been to St James's Park, was a few years ago now.
Right.
So yeah.
During the Ashley years, it probably wasn't the time to go either.
No.
Yeah. Lovely. Well, thank you so much. That was our quickfire round. Now I'd like to kind of, this next section, there's 9 questions, and it's based around something I work on with the Live Well writers. I've got a writing group, and we talk a lot about the story transformation. And the story transformation is how a person becomes who they are, basically. It's a story of change. So in a nutshell, it starts with the hero in their normal life. they receive a call to adventure, and then they take steps to accept that call to adventure. They then cross the threshold into some trials and tribulations to meet friends and enemies along the way. And what this path will take them to is called the ordeal. And that's what we can think of as the death of the old. So that's a part of ourself goes, but by that part going, the birth of the new can arrive, and we can claim an award that we're seeking. So whether that's a new skill, whether that's some knowledge, whether it's an item, it's what sent us on the journey in the first place to kind of fix the problem. So if part one's about preparing for change, part two is about inner transformation, part three is about changing the world around us. So how can we take what we've learned and then help our community to rise? So the first part of that is returning with the reward. The next part is about reintegrating it with the people around us in our life. And then finally, it's about re-establishing order in the world. So this is our new normal. So it's an upward spiral of change. You've been through it many different times on yoga, on conscious breathing, learning a new skill, and then obviously making it part of your life. So I'd like to do a story transformation with regards to We Rise here, basically. So what was life like before We Rise? What was normal life like for you?
So it was very much full-time teaching, with weekends spent renting spaces to be able to deliver my sound baths, and then taking the training to do the breath work. It was... So yeah, like the reason why I went from I even did sound therapy, even did the transformational style of breath work that I do, is because I've tried it and I know it works for me, and I then want to share it. It must be that intrinsic built-in teacher aspect to my personality that then wants to just give it to other people. And so
it's a great way of understanding things, that though, isn't it? When you can internalize it and then you think about how to teach someone how to do it. Yeah, that's a really powerful way of learning on an individual level as much as anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And by that stage as well, I wasn't necessarily even delivering to people, and I didn't even probably know that I wanted to. Right. But it's one of those things that I've slowly started. I saw myself being guided into almost by unseen hands, let's say, because I could never have imagined if you'd asked me pre-2020. If I was ever going to be sat in front of my full setup of instruments delivering sound baths, I would never have imagined it. Imagining helping people through some really tough situations emotionally, and with the transformational breath work, and then helping them to find balance and strength through the yoga, through the more gentle side of breath work. I would never have imagined that I would be doing that. And, I guess it's I love the mystery of it all. And so back then I was probably very much more about me, I guess. But then wanting something more, and probably realizing that was in helping other people. So I was a soul trader, and then started to I'd already met Vera by that point, and so I think we had already known that we wanted to do things on our own terms in the way that we wanted to provide for a community that we wanted to build. And that's really important. I've always thought about that in terms of holding space, because you can't always control what's going on around you when you're renting spaces, but you can more so in your own studio. Eventually for us, I think it'll be our own building, so that we can offer and provide more to people, contrast, hot and cold water, hot and cold therapy, and have our own nutritional cafe. So there's so much having control of we found it with the Live Well Hub. The first 4 years it was different venues, and it's great, and you have that feeling, but it's completely different when it's yours, and when you have the control, and it's okay, we can get it looking the way we want it, we can get it feeling the way we want it, and it's up to us. It's a wonderful kind of thing. What was the call to adventure in for We Rise? Was that you and Vera getting together? Was it or did it precede that? So by call to adventure, is that the point at which you're we should really push outside our comfort zone, or is it?
That's the aware of this idea, the awareness of, okay, there's something we could do here, and not necessarily taking the steps yet, but it's that kind of initial conversation. When you get excited and you get carried away of, we could do this, and we could do that.
I think it's that. It's being able to, or wanting to hold space for people in such a way that they would feel trusting of the services we provide, but also to be able to just relax in the space enough to then find that the therapy of the practices that we provide.
And it's it's interesting, this kind of part of obviously being that teacher element. I really do relate to that, because I'm not necessarily a teacher in a room so much as an online developer, but my mind works the same way. And like, even when I was working on the Wellbeing 9 a Day, that was for me, but I made it for me with you in mind, if you know what I mean. Because I was always thinking that way. I was like, well, this is beyond me, really. And if I can teach anyone how to do it, then it's got a lot more value than just being highly focused on what I want it to be in there. What kind of steps did you take then in terms of starting the We Rise journey?
Oh wow, I think it was just saving as much as we could.
Yeah.
We had to save a lot. But Vera loves to have her safety net as well. And if ever I realise that that's important, it's through her.
Right.
So we saved up quite a bit of money, and that meant that we were working really hard for like the 1.5 to 2 years beforehand. We were just like starting to develop the class ideas and lesson ideas behind that already. Trying to find out. Well, I think already what we have is quite unique. And as a result, we don't very often. We do have one other teacher, Alicia, that teaches classes, and we struggle very often to find other teachers to bring in, because the practices that we provide are quite their own thing. With a particular scope. Other people, so like mobility classes, the form classes that Vera teaches, I wouldn't necessarily think that other people would have. Like yoga teachers included wouldn't necessarily know what to do in terms of that, or the way that she chooses to teach it. And so it's about just making sure that back then that what we provided to people was maybe not with a view to being unique, but with a view to actually helping them in terms of their longevity, with like science-backed basis to everything that we do. So we were just researching quite a lot, spending the weekends, maybe looking to see what who we wanted as teachers, and that's how she found, like, for her extended yoga teacher training now, her new teachers. So.
Is that something that you'd go into in the future in terms of teaching instructors?
I think 100%. I think 100%. Because we've learned so much. We've drawn from other teachers' practices as well, for like specific reasons, and we can convey those reasons really well. And I think that as teachers, I think we'd be great teachers. I think she would be a particularly awesome teacher as well.
Well, having your own identity and having them foundations in place is the best place to start. And what I think I guess that's the kind of thing that maybe will even come from the community, the people who have been coming to sessions all the time, because I think that is a natural progression as someone who's learning something. I think it's the act 3 of the story transformation. I've become it. I've become a black belt in karate. Now I'm going to teach it, and actually the teaching part is even more important than the learning the foundations part in a lot of ways, because you're understanding it on a much fuller level. Oh, right, Well, that sounds exciting. Especially having your own building and a kind of, it's almost like a yoga academy of some description.
That'd
be amazing. So a little bit of context now. How did you get involved with liver organ cancer?
I think it was because there was was it a sleep session?
Yes.
And then it was, I was asked to do a sound bath and maybe a little bit of breath work. But at the time I was like, I've trained in my transformational breath work. Would you like that? And so I described it to all of the attendees. A lot of them, the practitioners themselves, the occupational therapists, the outreach clinicians, and yourself included. And so, that was the first time I think that I did for you a transformational breathwork and sound bath. And more recently, we've been doing the gentle breathwork for dealing with cancer-related fatigue. It's just, I think that it was probably that first time in Durham, was it?
Durham Centre
that we met.
No, it was so, but because initially we were doing patients and professionals, so for the sleep better, so we'd kind of mix it up. But I think by the time you'd got involved, we merged them together, because I mean, you'd have seen yourself on the tables. The conversations that happen between a patient and a professional is so important. And it's things that certainly don't happen in that informal setting where you sat around the table and you're talking about your problems, and having a patient saying, this is what fatigue's actually like for me on a day-to-day level. And then
it's revealing, isn't it?
It's huge. And then you got the professional. I've got 5 minutes. I've got 5 minutes per patient. Like, I have to prioritize the things I'm doing, and that dialogue is such an important thing. And what I loved about what you always brought to them sessions was, if nothing else, it was a great end to the day, because we'd do a lot of learning, we'd talk about different things, but it was just a chance for people to have that moment to themselves. And the Sedgefield one will always live in my memory. The culmination of what you were doing and the nature of it. In fact, I think the best speech I ever heard you give was in Durham.
Oh,
because you were you'd really motivated us, and I remember leaving the day feeling really good about it.
Yeah.
Is that must be interesting for you though, because you don't necessarily know the impact.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's always subjective, isn't it? Yeah, people could even, like, I think people always bring, like, if ever people bring their friends to a session, their friends don't know what to expect, because the person that's been first time doesn't know how to convey it. And I think that's still great. That's part of the magic of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it shows the depth of it.
Totally.
And you have to, like, I think that first time you're probably talking about was probably where I was given, like, the talking motivation on, like, the motivational script whilst you were breathing, and it's deep. Yeah.
It was really brilliant, and I didn't know it was coming as well. It was because obviously that was one of my first experiences of that, certainly in that kind of setting, because we were kind of all jammed in the room, weren't we? We had mats on the floor, exactly. And it was a bit of a hodgepodge session, but you really captured something. You really captured. How do you find that then? In terms, do you do a lot of kind of scripting, or is it something where you'll maybe have bullet points that you'll cover when you're going to talk about something?
So that, I mean, I think I eventually had a talk with you about the hero's journey itself, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so it would be the way that I started out was more along the lines of, yes, I would look into motivational quotes that related to more of the, let's get motivated to do this breath work. It's going to be tough. You're going to feel it, because it feels exertive. It was like deep breaths in through the mouth, deep to the belly, or top it up in the chest, out through the mouth. And so you need to be motivational. I found quotes to talk along the lines of, and then expand on those quotes with, like, just what I was saying to people in the room, ad hoc. And then it will be more motivational / emotive, because people, if they're going to have the potential for a release of stress from their nervous system, they can come emotionally. And not that they are, like, having cause to be emotional. It's just one of the taps that the breath work opens, because you could laugh, you could shout, you can cry. And then the final one is just to be really quite a little bit more emotive. And just, a lot of the things that people, I think, need to hear in the emotive part, the things that people who in life have made them work hard for their love haven't told them in such a long time. Or they've, it's things like you're enough. You are loved, you're enough. And it's that idea that we need to hear that every now and again, I think, and hearing that in the moment, particularly when you're quite receptive with the breath work, is quite poignant.
It's a wonderful thing to offer, you know, and they're the kind of seeds that you don't even see grow. And I guess that was kind of what I was getting at a little bit earlier, was you just don't know the impact you're going to have. Like, say if you've got 30 people in the room, you might never even have a thank you from the person, but it's just planted that seed that they take away, and then that's enough for them to kind of create the positive change, and it's a wonderful thing to offer. What's the biggest challenge of your work?
There are a couple. They're like, so you can get caught up in your own head, the idea that, like, you have to always be creative, doing something different. But then I think that takes away from the firm foundation that people need, and the familiarity for people then to go a little bit deeper with it, particularly with the breath work, the gentle breath work and the meditation. And then I think there are other challenges in the wellness industry as a whole. I think that the way that yoga is, like, it's becoming, like, it's growing more in popularity. I think when we opened the studio, it was when Pilates got really, really popular, and yoga kind of fell by the wayside. And it was like, what do we do here in this situation? And we just portray the benefits of yoga, try and help people to understand that it's, like, science-backed, it's about strength and not just the stretch that other people might suggest that it is. And also, I think that there's the challenge is also, it's really difficult. A lot of, like, even yoga, like, where you're not, like, a lot of people will be like looking, or like in a yoga class you might be looking around to, if you're not particularly like a yogi and you like you just come into the odd yoga class, you'll be looking around saying like, well, how are other people finding this? And that's externalizing it. That's you not like turning inward and like maybe finding difficulty in turning inward. And it's the same, we've even found it with our gentle breathwork sessions, haven't we, with the either the professionals or the patients alike. And it's the idea that like you might not have spent so much of your life like turning inward and like trying to clear your mind of thoughts, and that is a very difficult thing to do. You can then externalize everything, and like you can almost have your inner self critic think on your behalf, but then look to the environment to say what it doesn't like about it, so that you're not focusing on you anymore. It's so interesting how it does that, and I think that like very often people don't appreciate that it is just like a small part of an aspect of them, a part of like not them like overall, but a small aspect of them that is doing that, that they can bring back around, and that they can train and develop and make sure it doesn't have as much of an impact on their life or in the moment.
It must be strange in them kind of open day events where 30-40 people in the room. You're bound to have skeptics, you're bound to have some people who've never done it before, you're bound to have people who've got the block on, whereas in your studio it's opt-in and more likely to be people who have at least tried it before, or they're certainly more open-minded to
100%. But we also even find people that come to the studio that maybe gel more with the breath work, less with the visualizations, the meditations. I don't know if you noticed, but as I think we did probably, was it 3 or 4 sessions in Durham and then across in Hexham. So what I did was I eventually dropped out the visualization meditations just to take people through one breathwork technique, bring them out, talk about it, like dive back into another breathwork technique, bring them back out of it, talk a bit more. And I think that like that was important, otherwise they might have switched off a lot sooner.
And once you've lost someone, it's very, like, because I can't visualize, and as much as I try, I can't do it. I know I'm making up an image in my head and it doesn't work. And I did notice that you changed the approach, and actually that worked better for me. How rewarding is your work then? So we've talked about challenges there, like how rewarding is work that you do?
Oh, it's fundamentally, for me personally, and it's like fundamentally rewarding. I think that like seeing people leave a little bit lighter, less burdened, feeling as though they have probably a little bit more freedom in the choices that they can make in everyday life. Maybe knowing that they're not going to, if they have come to a sound bath on the weekend, they go into the next week maybe feeling a little less stressed, because they have like exercised their nervous system, brought more elasticity back into it on the weekend with me. Then they're not going to respond to like the email from like a co-worker so stress-wise, or like, I was going to say violently, but like it's that like putting red flag on something that doesn't necessarily need it. And the same people have just like that a lot like of a lower, more mellow baseline is nice.
What's the kind of makeup of your classes? Like how many, is it like a real core group of members, or do you get like a lot of flux?
So like we do tend to have like our regulars that come quite often,
That's the best way.
And their core base. And we do have some, like there's a few guys actually, which is lovely to see, in like because the wellness industry is predominantly female, but it's nice to see that there are guys that do come and are part of the core membership. But then of course that when it comes to the holiday season, to like the Easter holidays soon, whenever we have like offers put out there, people very often do tend to come in on a casual basis as well. Maybe some of them will stay.
Well, that's what you need, isn't it? You need to get new eyes on it. It's the only way to kind of maintain these things. Because with the best will in the world, you can't have the same people coming all the time. Because
that's it. Or you just want people to find the community and then be drawn to it.
How was the beach event that you did? How did you find doing that? That must have been, they're cool things to do, aren't they? When you're out on the beach.
I'm always worried about how the weather will go. How like all of this like external sounds. But it was a yoga. We had a run with the Run Club, Geordie Run Club, and then we had a probably about 40 minutes yoga class.
Unreal.
And then we had like a sea dip afterwards, but it was great. It was brilliant. Like Michael, who runs the run club, took his drone up, so we had some great shots.
Brilliant.
It was lovely.
Outside the settings is cool as well, because it's lovely having the home, but these one-off events feel more, don't they? Because more planning goes into it. You've got more organisation. It's a build-up, and then you have that lovely breath afterwards when you're done.
Exactly.
We did it.
And Shavasana, listening to the waves and it not being a soundtrack is amazing.
Oh yeah, totally. I bet that was amazing. But that was really good. So what was it meant to you being part of Liver Oil Cancer in terms of doing these workshops?
Wow, it's been quite personal for me, because my dad ended up with, probably about 10 years ago now though, he ended up with kidney cancer, had to have a kidney removed, and he was I think he was stage 3 at the time. So he was then luckily put on a drugs trial for more of what are now more readily available drugs on the NHS as well. Brilliant. So it was quite personal to me that I could give back in a way that would help patients, would help the professionals. Because they take on a lot of stress as well, and they need to release it, and it's just about that, being able to help people maybe read their body in this in a better way through the breath work, and also find that presence, maybe for just not to be drawn so much into the past and into the future by their worries, which so easily you can be.
The feedback's always been amazing as well when it comes to them sessions, and it's that's why we end on that. Part of the reason is because the feedback's better, because people have just had lovely relaxing breath work for 40 minutes and they feel better and they're liberated. But that's the whole point of the day, we do the educations first, we do a little bit of movement, we do a little bit of my stuff, and then giving people that chance. And it is a gift. It is a gift what you do, because to guide people through that, you can't find it yourself. With the best will in the world, you couldn't say to someone, go and do some breathing exercises, you'll figure it out. Having a guide there and having a reassuring voice and having someone who's got the science behind it means such a difference. And they are powerful things on the day. So we really, really do appreciate you there. And I'm sure wherever the next one is, I'm sure you'll be along for that as well.
Thank you.
Do you have a highlight from your time?
Well, I think it's probably what you said in terms of the hail landing. It was, and also that last session that we had in Hexham in the Abbey was lovely. Yeah, and I think that
really good venue, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the group had such smiley faces, and that was also when I'd tweaked and changed my delivery to the point at which they could just dip in and out of the practices, rather than maybe tipping them too far into the depth of the practice that might make them feel uncomfortable. So yeah.
Well, and that's powerful what we've done today, having that exercise, having that just 10 minutes or whatever that was at the start. Giving people them little tools as a starting point is such a key thing, because awareness is the first step, and actually a few rounds of box breathing, some of them longer breaths, giving people that tool and the awareness of that tool is a brilliant. It's all we can do it sometimes. And then if people are interested and they get the benefit, then they'll come and find people and different things like that. So obviously, hopefully that's where people come to We Rise and Live Well with Cancer for our different sessions and that. What are your hopes for the future?
It probably just leads into the idea of us maybe expanding into different areas, like hot and cold therapy, maybe the cafe that we talked about. Just being able to drop the teaching and Vera to drop her other job in order to do this full time for ourselves both, and because the studio has got to support the both of us at the minute, and it's able to support one person, but two is the next step. And maybe we do provide teaching, I do provide it in terms of sound therapy and the breath work, and maybe she provides it, we both provide it in terms of the yoga. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yeah. And the more you can kind of build that team below you as well, the more it feeds itself. So at the minute, it's a case of kind of morning and evening sessions, I think.
Yes.
Generally speaking. So would that be a case of upping the sessions as well?
It could be absolutely. Yeah. More people just have to find us.
Well, your social media content's great. And
there again.
Yeah, class. Well, hopefully we'll give you some assets to use today from this one. Yeah. Final question. I didn't send you this beforehand, and it's a hard one, so don't feel bad if you haven't got an answer. Is there anything I haven't asked you today that I should have done?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. We cover the whole journey, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah. It's probably under 40 questions you've had. It's probably enough.
It's all good.
Well, thank you so much, James. It's been a pleasure. We're in the new format. Thank you so much, Hayward. Always a pleasure to be in the studio. Stuff Productions do a great job. And how was your first podcast?
I really loved it.
We always have nice chats, James. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and we've got a lot of interests aligned, and helping people live better is a real calling in life. So it's brilliant to hear that you're more than well on your path, and the future's bright with that wellness, whatever that's going to be. I'm not sure. The wee rise.
Precisely. Whatever we become next. Yeah. Onwards and upwards.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you, Hayward. We'll be back next time.